La Diada, Catalonia's national day, commemorates the fall of Barcelona to the Spanish crown in 1714. But this year, it's got new branding, La Diada del Sí, a rallying cry to vote yes in next month's referendum on independence. To Spain's government, the vote violates the constitution. In 2014, a symbolic referendum resulted in 80% of voters backing independence, but less than half of eligible voters took part. This time, Catalonia's president, Carles Puigdemont, says a yes victory will lead to independence within 48 hours. The region's parliament has already approved new laws laying out the terms for an independent Catalonian republic. Hostility between Spain and the Catalan state reached new highs this week. Spain's Prime Minister, Mariano Rajoy, asked the Constitutional Court to suspend the vote.
Esa consulta, por más que se pretenda imponer de forma atropellada, chapucera e ilegal, no se va a celebrar.
And judges agreed, ruling to put the law that authorized the vote on hold. The Spanish government has even gone further, threatening separatist leaders and mayors with fines and suspensions from office. Over the weekend, a print shop was raided by police looking for ballots. Some analysts say Madrid's hard line might actually be fueling support for the separatists.
Many Catalans have really broken their cultural and mental relationship with the Spanish state. Not with Spain, not with the Spanish society, but with the Spanish state.
Indeed, the latest polls suggest a strong majority of Catalans support the right to determine their future. But the numbers also suggest most people would say no to independence. What's unpredictable is whether the vote will even go ahead, and whether the Catalans can go it alone if they succeed. Sandra Gatman, The Newsmakers.
Well, to discuss this further, I'm joined now from Barcelona by Javier Nart. He's a member of the European Parliament who represents Spain's Ciudadanos party. Also in Barcelona is Oriol Amorós. He's the Catalan government's Secretary for Equality, Migration and Citizenship. Gentlemen, thank you very much for joining us. Oriol, let me begin with you. You have a big day today, the Diada, thousands of people on the streets. Is it a day of celebration or protest?
Well, it's a day of commemoration and it's a day of reivindication of freedom. So it's a day where we want to say to the Spanish government, to the world and to ourselves, it's at the same time that we are ready, that we are prepared, that all we want is to decide by the best way that the things could be decided, which is with ballot boxes, with ballot papers, and giving the people the right to vote their option they prefer.
Javier Nart, should the people of Catalonia have the choice to vote on breaking away?
Well, the tragedy in Catalonia is that when they speak about Catalonia, they think that Catalonia is them. And Catalonia is all of us. First, in the last elections, the voters that were against separatism were more than the voters for separatism. They did the elections calling them a plebiscite, and they lost. But they said that in accordance with the law in Catalonia that gives more seats to the rural areas, it doesn't matter how many people voted against, because they were more in the parliament. In the Catalonian parliament, to change the, let me say, the statute, that is the constitution, as you can call, of the region of Catalonia, you need 2/3, but they are scarcely majority, and they made a shortcut in order to achieve what they say, the right to decide. That is something that it doesn't exist in the legality, the international legality. That's why, in the international context, they have no followers, no backing, no government, no one is backing them. They are inventing something and dividing society in two. The actual, the holiday of today, the celebration of today had to be a unity for all the Catalans, and they have transformed it in a sectarian thing. And this is very, very sad indeed.
Okay.
To break society is the worst thing and the last thing you have to do if you're a politician.
So let me give Oriol a chance to respond. A lot of accusations against you, Oriol. Have a go.
Yeah. Yes. I like that Javier Nart used counting the votes as an argument, because this is the final argument. So if he feels so sure that they have majority, why they don't allow us to vote? Because the self-determination right is a right well recognized all over the world. And of course, the Spanish diplomacy is pressing all the governments in the world. But you can go, for example, in the House of Representatives in London, in British Parliament, where they had made a document speaking and analyzing the facts and saying that the best way to solve the things is let people vote. He talks about, he counts the number as they want, but clearly in the Catalan Parliament and among the voters, there is a clear majority in favoring the right of people to decide. There are some polls that talks about 70%, other 80%. It doesn't mean all these people want to vote yes, but it's not important for me. People has the right to say yes or has the right to say no, and we will respect the result. And that's the key point. About the accusation of dividing society, of course, plural society have different opinions in different ways. In my family, there is people in favor of independence and people against. But this is not a problem for us to live together and in a democratic society to have different point of view. For example, I met Mr. Mart some time ago. Maybe he can remember that in the parliament, and we had a nice talk in different issues. So we think in opposite ways on this point. But in a democratic society, when you have different point of views, and I like he used the argument of counting votes, because this is the key point, and agree with him in this point, not the way he counts, because I think he's a bit tricky, because he's counting people who's in favor of the right, and there are some parties who are in favor of the right to decide, but they don't say yes or no, because they have members of both options. And if you really count the last elections in Catalonia, who were in favor of independence, were 49%, and who were against 39%. So, it was a normal election with other issues on the table. So now, if we want to decide on that, we have to vote yes or no. And we go ahead to let people decide, let people decide freely.
And that's what you want. Madrid doesn't want you to have the vote. Let me ask you, Javier, we have the Prime Minister Rajoy saying, quote, this is an intolerable act of disobedience. Madrid is taking all legal means by suspending the vote, political means. You've got newspaper offices raided in Barcelona, right? You have Barcelona itself not wanting to give voting centers and 6 other major population centers with populations of over 100,000 not wanting to host the vote. With all of this in mind, isn't Madrid, by its actions and by its tone, going to push people who are on the fence into the hands of Oriol and his friends, because Madrid is treating these people as if they're children?
But excuse me, don't speak about Madrid and Barcelona. I am in Barcelona, I am Catalan as Amorosi is, and I mean, it's a clear thing. I mean, there is a heavy divide, a great divide in the Catalonian society. So, for example, if they say that the right to decide that as an invention is a nicety, right to decide is the way to disguise self-determination right, and in accordance with international legality, and Catalonia is not in the moon, it's in the planet Earth. Self-determination applies only to countries under colonial system or with an intolerable repression. I mean, let me say, any country that has an intolerable... And do you think that Catalonia has an intolerable repression when the government is a separatist government, even that they are in a minority backing from the people? I mean, the right to decide is a full nicety, and I give you an example. For example, if they go for the right to decide, they will find a divided society. So, for example, in Barcelona, we are going to be against, fully against. In the north of Catalonia, I am sure it's going to be heavily for. So we are going to divide Catalonia in 2. Why? There is no the right to decide to Barcelona city, or to Tarragona, or to the main cities of Catalonia. The right to decide, they say, no, this is in the Catalonian context. And I say, no, it is in the context of anyone. And so Spain is a free country, and Catalonia is a free country. It looks like they have never voted for it. I mean, the main problem is that they have fear to the elections, but to the good elections, with a constitutional elections, that means that the people that are going to be present at the tables of voting has to be neutral, not their friends as they are going to do now. And they have to be, let me say, a census, and not the census that we don't know what is it because they have hidden it. And we have to have, let me say, a legal body to observe the elections, and not the friends they have put and nominated directly. And of course, all of this gives to a point. When they approve the law, you can say they approve by a scarcely minority in the parliament, the advisors, legal advisors, that they were named from them, but they are legal people, they know what is law,
so
they were not follow it when they say it is an illegal law.
Okay, so let me bring in Oriol here.
La Corte Constitucional, what is the Constitutional Court for statutory rights, they have the possibility of saying nothing. So it is, let me say, we are more seats and we decide the law. And this is the most near thing to, let me say, a coup d'etat.
Okay, coup d'etat, very, very powerful words. Oriol, let me ask you, you have Javier taking offense to the fact that I framed it as Barcelona versus Madrid. He says, in Catalonia, you have a divided society. And I guess some of the polls can back him up when you look at the polls. I'm very hesitant to quote polls after Brexit, after Donald Trump's win. But nevertheless, let me quote you a poll from July. The poll said 49.4% of Catalans are against independence, 41.1% support it. The rest are sitting on the fence. Doesn't that tell you that the people of Catalonia are extremely divided, and this could go either way? It doesn't have this majority that you're claiming.
Well, I don't think this poll is right, but if it was, it never happens. It's no problem. If people vote no, I will accept that. So, of course, there are different opinions in Catalonia, but there is a central point where there is a big and huge majority. Some polls say 70%, other polls, the main polls say 80%, which is about the right to vote. So there is a big majority, a huge majority who wants to vote. And this is the key point. And then if they vote yes or vote no, I will accept that. And we will accept that. And our president of Catalonia has said that if the no wins, he will resign and he will call on to elections. So this is the perfect democratic way to solve the things. And I ask to the other part, are you going to accept a majority in favor of independence? This is the key point. And all the other things are just blah, blah, blah.
Okay, so
talking to talk. Because in a democratic society, certainly, of course, there are different. And I want to say other things.
Okay, finish your
point.
Two
other things, please. Just to answer some statements of Javier. First, of course, Javier, and I agree with you in this point, you are as Catalan as me, and no people has no doubt around this issue. And of course, all the Catalans, those who vote no, who wants to don't vote, or who wants to vote yes, has the same right, and their opinion has to be listened and listened carefully. Another thing, this morning, the president of Javier's party, Ciudadanos, there were over there a microphone open, and probably he didn't know, just said that they cannot stop the votation on 1st October. This votation is based on law, of course. It has all the guarantees that we can give to this votation. And the only problem with this votation, as the Spanish government is putting as pressure and as problems as they can. They are threatening civil servants. They are threatening our suppliers. They are entering in a press industry where they thought the ballots were printed there. They are entering in the media.
Understandably, and it seems as if the central government is doing all it can to stop it happening. Let me ask Javier. Javier, if it goes ahead, do you trust the president of Catalonia, Carles Puigdemont, to let it go, to put it away, and to say we lost and we'll move on now? Because that's what they're saying. They're saying, let's put it to a vote, and if the people vote no, we move on. Do you trust them?
This is the most grotesque, dangerous, and terrible thing. when they say we are going to the streets, so they don't go for what is the pillar of democracy, that is doing in accordance with the law. I mean, these people, these separatist people, these, let me say, selfish people, they think that the country belongs to them. And if you look to the international context, because up to my opinion, up to my knowledge, Catalonia is in Europe and Europe is in the world, no country has supported this, let me say, so-called right to decide, or this absolutely undemocratic approach from the separatists. So it is quite interesting to realize that it's not a question of Madrid attitudes, that's the law. And it's not the question of the Spanish government, it's all the governments in Europe. The President Juncker has said that Europe will not accept a separatist movement in Catalonia against the law, as well as the President of the European Parliament. This is the Prodi doctrine since many years ago. So at the end, if you look to them, they look to themselves and they think that the small personality they are is the core of the world. And the world is broader. They have got no support from anyone. And it's not because of the pressure of the Spanish diplomacy. It is because there is an international legality that they make a joke of it. That's it.
Okay. Unfortunately, we're out of time. Two things to watch: whether the vote actually goes ahead and how it will turn out if it does go ahead. We'll be in touch with both you gentlemen, Javier and Oriol, in the next few weeks as we build up to October 1st.
Can I say a last word, please?
Okay, in 15 seconds. In under 15 seconds, if you can, because I have to wrap.
No, I just want to let know to Javier that Scottish has voted, the Quebec people has voted, and there are 29 new countries in the 20s of last century in Europe, and all these countries has made referendums. If you ask to the Norwegians what a referendum is, Norwegians has voted. And Javier, the Finnish has voted. And the Letonian has voted, and many people has voted in this world.
I've got to move on.
The Catalans just want to do what the Norwegians do in 1905.
That's fantastic. Mr. Amorós giving the doctrine of the European Union. Wonderful. I want to finish. Long life a united Turkey and long life a united Spain.
Okay, gentlemen, I've got to move on. I hope we'll have both of you back on the program very soon. Oriol Amorós and Javier Nart. It's been a pleasure talking to both of you. Thank you very much.